Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. Okay. So I suppose you can hear me. All right, great.
Yeah.
Great. So let's begin with today's session. Yeah. So back and neck straight. Gently close the eyes. Start off the breath. Just watching the natural flow of the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. And when you feel ready, your body is stable, your body is aligned. You can begin to deepen the breath. Slow, long, and deep inhalation. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Chanting Om 3 times. Inhale deeply for Om. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at the palms, open up your eyes. Start coming up. Namaste to everyone. Let us begin today's session. So yesterday we discussed a very important topic, Karma Yoga, one of the major schools of yoga, and today we are going to discuss another very main topic, which is Bhakti Yoga. right? So it is another school of yoga. Let me write it down in the chat box for you. Bhakti. Or the path of devotion. Right? Bhakti, Bhakti. Bhakti Yoga, right? And the term bhakti is derived from the root word bhaj, Bhaj, which means um, loving service. Bhaj meaning loving service, right? So this is the easiest form of yoga, right? Easiest school. If you do not, believe like, uh, that attaining a lot of knowledge can change who you are, right? Because uh, like we read a lot of things, we study a lot of things, but we are unable to implement them, right? So if you believe that reading up will not do you any good, attaining more knowledge will not do you any good, nor do you believe that your actions can have that you know uh, that much impact, right? For you they do not have that much impact, but you are a very emotional being, right? So your emotions are very strong, and when you're very emotional you get upset about little things, and people can come up to you and say, that wasn't something you should have been upset about, but you still get upset sometimes, you feel things very deeply, right? And if you do so, then this path is for you, because it doesn't require you to be logical, intellectual. It doesn't require you to you know uh, put in effort, right? Because work we all do, but creating that sense of detachment will initially require effort, right? And nor are you on that high stage, because Raj Yoga comes on at a very later stage. So you are just beginning and you are an emotional being. So the best way for a person to start their yoga journey is to start it with bhakti, right? The path of devotion. When we are devoted to someone or something, right? Some goal, aspiration that we have, everything within us changes. Why? Because we align ourselves to attain that goal, right? So when you are dedicated or devoted to some god, right, then why God? Because of course it has to be when you are working towards your own improvement, you will look for somebody who is at the same level as you are. Even when you look for a mentor, somebody who will guide you in your life, you look for someone who might be ahead in your journey, in their journey, or ahead in your journey, or ahead in more of wisdom than you are. So God is not a believer. That's okay, right? The main thing is the sentiment of devotion, right? So if you feel that you are, connected to God, you have the ability to devote yourself. God, once again, I'm repeating this thing that, God is a term we use when we look up to someone and with great qualities, right? Somebody who has adorable quality, something that you admire, something that you believe in. That God has that quality, so you believe in that God, right? So similarly, when you go into Bhakti Yoga, you devote yourself. That becomes, instead of a weakness, it becomes a strength. Why? Because now you are channeling that same emotion towards your own upliftment, right? Being emotional is not wrong at all. We are all emotional beings. Some of us show more emotions, some are able to express less. But it is what makes us human, right? But taking those emotions out in, a manner where your energy is also wasted will do you no good. Suppose you get angry. So some people, when they get angry, they take out their anger like really badly, right? And it does them harm and it does everybody else around them also harm. So you can choose, you can change, you will still, that is how you turn your it into your strength. Because now when you know, you are having emotions, you're channeling it towards your devotion towards something, right? And eventually when you are able to channel it, you will end up getting free from the impurities, right? So right now, anger, jealousy, envy, sadness, all of these things are defilements of the mind, right? These are impurities that we have, right? So you can work on eliminating these through bhakti, right? Just now you have changed the way in which you are looking at that thing, and immediately when you face an emotion where there is some defilement in the mind, you recognize it, and then you channel that same energy towards your bhakti, yeah, practices of bhakti yoga. You channel your energy towards those things, and it will eventually lead to settlement of that emotion, right? Because no emotion is permanent, right? If you are experiencing anger today, that doesn't mean that after 10 days you are still going to be angry. It is possible. I'm not saying it is impossible. Sometimes you hold on to anger for a really long period of time, but the consistent state of anger will not remain for a very long period of time if you look at it, right? And that is what we are talking about, right? When we are discussing this, that the practices of bhakti yoga will actually lead you to a point where you are channeling that emotion and waiting for it to phase out, because each and every emotion will fade out, right? And when you devote yourself completely, when there is a sense of surrender, right, then you are completely detaching from everything else and devoting yourself to that one thing, right? So you might have experienced it in your life in some form or the other, when you experience love, be it towards your parents, your siblings, your partner. So when you see you are in that state of love, right, that is when nothing else matters. You detach yourself from everything else and your complete attention and focus is towards giving that love, right? And we as human beings, because we have defilements in the mind, we are loving also, uh, there are impurities in our love also, right? And as you work on the path of bhakti yoga, you eliminate those impurities and you reach a stage where you reach that pure or unconditional love, right? So the love is no more conditioned, right? We as human beings right now also, if you think, you love most of the people in your life with conditions, right? And they are bound to be there, because see, it's not anybody's fault. We are ourselves working on the impurities of our mind. So until and unless we have so many, like, until and unless we are not able to eradicate the impurities, we will not be able to love to the full potential. But love is the only emotion that matters. Everything we do in life is a way of finding little bit more love from the people who are there. Our basic need for love is so, if a child, yeah, I think there was an experiment that was done, a small child, just a newborn, one was given, a lot of love and care, and one was not attended to at all, right? And I think the kid who wasn't given love showed very extreme, health decline and all of these things. Why? Because love is the emotion. Even a newborn or a kid, you know, you cannot deny the need for love for them. On a biological level, it starts affecting us. Our health goes down. We do not feel that good. If you don't feel good, your entire, system functioning is going to go really like wrong. And at the same place, when you see someone who falls in love or who loves their family a lot, is connected a lot to their family, to their siblings, all of these people, their friends, their community, and they have a lot of love, right? They have a lot of love in their life and they are able to reciprocate also. They are generally very happy, healthy. You will see they are very, very healthy, right? Maybe they don't even work out like you are doing so much yoga, too many classes for you every day, right? But that person, the person who has, like, balanced their life, has a lot of love in their life, has a lot of people and a sense of community, that person doesn't necessarily need to, you will see they do not necessarily need to do all of these things. They are happy and they remain healthy, right? Happy and healthy, we generally use these two words together most of the time because they are very much connected, not only on a mental level, emotional level, even on the physical level. When you are sad, you your body is not going to respond properly. Digestion will not take place properly. Try eating at a point of time when you are angry. You will see how that food, you will feel each and every bite of the food and you will see how much it is harming you, right? So love is the emotion when you talk of bhakti yoga. And the sense of surrender is where, no mind, no effort is required. Why? Because when you're in Gyan Yoga, you are constantly, studying things, you are constantly using your critical, analytical mind, right? And you're putting in so much effort. Same with, Karma Yoga, you are, consistently working towards the sense of detachment. But in Yoga, you just have to, you select the God that you admire the most and you just fall in love, right? So you just fall in love with that God in any sense, right? So you can see that God as your mother, your father, a good friend, a sibling, you know. So just devoting and dedicating yourself to that God. And no mind works, when we fall in love. Even if I take the day-to-day example, right? Suppose you fall in love with someone, right? And when you do, most of the people in your life, they're going to come and tell you, this person is not good for you, or this person is harming you. But you are in love, right? And when you are in love, your mind stops working, right? So everybody in your life, the person you fall in love with, nobody will approve in your life. You will generally say this. It's a very common thing. The person we fall in love with is never approved. Nobody will give past that person with flying colors because everyone around you cares for you. And when you are with that person, uh, can direct you as per themselves. And your mind is not working, so you will do everything, right? So whenever you go into very deep devotion, you will see that that you can experience love, right? Means that mind, everything else has to be shut down, right? And that is why after a while, when you wake up to the realities, you are just like, this person, how could I not see this before? Because the mind is not working. mind was not working. And it's absolutely all right because your heart was working. And that was the entire point, right? So, same way, you're going to use the power of the heart instead of the power of your mind, your action, your, ability to sit for a long period of time in meditation. You're going to suspend all of that and you're going to work with the heart, right? So, if you are that type of person, this is definitely the best way for you to proceed, right? People who do not know a lot, do not study a lot, do not not very intellectual, also do not prefer those kinds of things, great path for them, right? It doesn't require a lot of effort as well. Initial level it will, because you are going to go into practices like kirtan, bhajans, you know reading about the god that you choose. So the best part about bhakti yoga is, especially if you go into Hinduism, you will see there are so many gods, right? So we have so much variety, and whichever god you like, you choose that god, and then you devote and dedicate yourself to that god, right? And to read about that god, gain like that, right? Why are you doing all of these processes? It doesn't matter if somebody is going to the temple or not going to the temple, right? It is about the intention. So you can sit at home and do your own set of rituals as well, but your dedication and devotion needs to show. It shouldn't be like you are going to the temple just because you are meant to on a particular occasion, or you are going to the church just because you are supposed to, it's a big festival. No, your devotion is what counts. So you have, when you are in bhakti yoga, it is your devotion more than you know uh, just showing up on the big festivals, or completing a set of rituals. It's more about how you feel and how you connect with the god, right? And you know bhakti yoga is, in my experience, like, it is my favorite form of yoga, right? And bhakti yoga is very powerful. Why? Because see, Gyan Yogi is going to, intellectualize things and try to understand something which cannot be seen. But there is some explanation for it still, right? Karma Yogi will mostly stay connected with whatever they are doing. So they can actually see what they are doing. But Bhakta has so much power that even idols of god, right? If you would have ever gone to any temple, you would have seen idols of god. So their emotion, their bhakti is going to be so strong that it can give that stone, that sculpture, that idol so much. It can, if you see from the eyes of a bhakt, that idol that we just see as a stone that is carved in a particular shape, for the bhakt has the ability to give that stone life, right? Because of their emotion. So it is a very powerful form, and it can keep you very easily gripped also, so you won't lose sight very easily of bhakti. Why? Because no logic is going to work when you are engaging your emotions. So even if logically you would say that, when you look at bhakti, you will often think, why? You will try to make logic into your mind. Why are they doing this, right? But only the bhakt can see, because the bhakt is completely absorbed in their emotion. So in my family also, my grandmother, she used to wake up every morning, she used to go to the temple. And at that point of time, I was little, so I did not have that understanding. So I used to question her a lot, right? And I did not believe in gods and everything. So I used to question her a lot. Why are you doing this? Why this? Why that? And when the bhakt answers, you do not get that satisfaction, right? Because they are not thinking logically, right? So she used to share some answers with me and tell me, this is why we do it, this is why we do it, but it never convinced me. unless and until I myself experienced where she was headed, right? So when certain instances, certain things happen in your life, you do tend to, tilt towards that side, and unless and until you don't, no amount of understanding is going to make you understand what the bhakt is feeling. Like if I tell you the taste of a particular food, I keep telling you about it, right? I'm giving you 2 3 hours of lecture. This is how this food tastes. But unless and until you do not taste it, you will not understand what I'm talking about. It's the flavor, right? When you taste that food, you are going to get that flavor in your mouth, and then you will know. Then you will know that, this is the taste she was talking about. This is the thing she was saying for so long. She was trying to describe this thing. But now I understand what she meant. And then you will not even misunderstand it, because now you got direct experience of the taste of that food. If I give you something, if I um, place a blindfold on your eyes and just give you something else, some other flavor, you will know, right, that I am deceiving you, right? Because you have tasted the thing that I was talking about. So it is about experiencing this thing rather than, even though we are having a class on Bhakti Yoga, because I am introducing the school to you. It is a past part of your syllabus, and more than that, it is a school of yoga. And if you are an emotional person, I think you found your answer, right? Where you have to go, right? So I can take very long classes on Bhakti Yoga as well. But unless and until you become a Bhakt, you will not be able to exactly understand what I am talking about, right? So in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna ji gives the utmost importance to Bhakti. He says, till the 12th chapter. So he discusses it in the 12th chapter. And when he reaches the 12th chapter, he tells Arjun that, till 12 chapters out of 18, he has now reached the 12th chapter. So he has already told Arjun of a lot of ways, why he should do whatever he is meant to do, why he should fight the war, right? So majority of that thing has been completed, right? But even then, when Arjun was not able to understand, that is when he, introduced the concept of Bhakti Yoga. He said, Arjun, don't think of anything. You do not have to think of anything, right? All you have to do is devote yourself to me. That is what he said. Do not think of anything, devote yourself to me, right? And because he is the form of God, he said that whatever direction I'm giving you, just follow it. Love actually is blind, right? So he said, be blind. Whatever I'm telling you, just do it. Believe in me, right? So he said that leave everything else behind. You don't have to put so many logics. You don't have to put so much into it, thinking that is it right, is it wrong? Yeah, should I do it? Should I not do it? And he, in this chapter itself, he says that he values a bhakt the most. So out of all the yogis, he said, my favorite one is the bhakt, the person who chose to surrender himself or herself to me, right? Because that person, surrender, even though I'm talking about it as being no effort, it is very hard for us as human beings to surrender, right? We are not even able to surrender to little things in our life, have faith in little things in our life. So surrendering all together, that everything that you are doing is devoted to someone else, it is a big thing, right? It doesn't require effort. It requires releasing that sense of control. That is very difficult for us as human beings, right? In a world which is so modern, where you have all the answers, where you have instant, access to everything, it is very hard to give up control, right? So he says that the bhakt, I value that person the most because he understood that whatever the bhakt is doing when he or she is becoming a bhakt, even though it seems quite easy, it is difficult. Just to generate that devotion is difficult. You can even think, when was the last time when you devoted yourself to someone, and didn't question what they were doing? absolute surrender, right? It is absolute. So a normal yogi, the normal yogi is going to build a bridge, right? If I can say right now we are, at this side of the uh, river. So a normal yogi will build up something to cross that river, right? To reach that other point. But the bhakt will just directly jump into the water and trust that the bhakt is going to reach towards the other side, right? So that is the level of devotion I'm talking about. No thinking, nothing, just surrender. And he asks Arjun to surrender. And by the end of the 18th chapter, Arjun does surrender. He says that now I am putting all of my faith in you and I am going ahead and fighting this war. That is what he does at the end. And when Krishna ji is explaining, this bhakti yoga, he refers to you know, bhakts, two types of bhaktis, right? So he said one is for the beginner level. He says appara bhakti, right? I will just write this down in the chat box as well. APARA, Apara, Apara Bhakti, right? So here, this is the lower form of bhakti, but again, very good for a beginner, right? When you are a beginner, it is very hard to, just completely surrender yourself. So you put yourself through a process, right? And we are impure right now. As I told you, we have so many defilements in the mind. So when we have these so many defilements in the mind, then of course we cannot love purely, right? So we have to work first towards eliminating those impurities. So how do you do that, right? There is some source of love within you right now as well. It's like milk which is contaminated, right? So when we add water to that milk, then we add other chemicals, pesticides, all of these to the milk, and then preservatives, right? And then that milk is sold. So there is a portion in that milk which is actually milk. So there is a portion within us which has that purity of love, but it is mixed by all the other defilements, right? So initially you work on, reading about the God, as I told you before. Also, you read up about that God. You, uh, you know, participate into satsangs, into bhajans. These are all, uh, every once in a while, like some people do it daily where, there is a lot of chanting of mantras, a lot of singing songs, right, devoted to the God, and stories being told about the God. So it's not necessary you read it. Some places, there are specific, uh, places where they talk of the God, tell about their life. So you can go and attend these things. You can begin your personal practice where devote some time to pray every day or do puja. Like in Hindu tradition, we do puja, right? We wake up every day. A lot of people in India, they wake up every day, they bathe, and before they eat, they worship God. And after that, they, eat something, take something, right, to energize their body. But all the time before that is actually dedicated to the God. Everything is done for the God. Some people do very deep bhakti where they consider the God to be a person, right? So they have this idol of the God in their house, and you know uh, changing the clothes, bathing the God every day, giving food to the God every day, right? Not leaving the idol alone, right? So considering the idol to be God himself, it is a very deep form of bhakti. And in India you will find a lot of people do this thing, right? Where they are, deeply devoted, right? So depending on which level you are at right now, you can begin by these things. So still there are impurities even in your practice, all the time your mind will not be engaged, but with continuous practice you will be able to work on the defilements of the mind. You will see that earlier you used to get very angry, but now there is a portion of you which experiences little bit less anger, right? You will see that earlier you used to get upset very easily, but now that same trigger has gone down. And as you practice, all of these things will start somewhere coming in your control. They are going to come under your control, right? So as you take years and it takes years and years of practice to reach this state. But as you go deeper and deeper into these forms of bhakti, right? This apara bhakti, when you go deeper and deeper, you will see that you reach the automatically transcend into the next stage, which is para bhakti. So P-A-R-A. You will automatically transcend into this stage. You cannot force this stage, right? Like, every day you are practicing. Suppose any sport you are practicing every day, right? And there is going to naturally come a point where you, whatever you were trying to achieve, the perfection in maybe, um, making a goal, or uh, you know getting in basketball, throwing the ball with such technique that it enters the hoop and you make a point, right? So with practice eventually it is going to start happening, that those things will automatically begin to happen because you perfected the technique, right? So eventually it's going to begin to happen that you perfect these practices, and you will naturally transcend into a stage where you see God everywhere, in everyone, in everything. You see that you are not separate, and that everybody has that element, no matter how many impurities that person carries, right? You will reach so deep that you will be able to see that purity in all of that impurity. You will be able to recognize that pure part in a person, in an environment, in a thing, no matter how many impurities are over there. That is when you make that deep connection. And when you are connected that deeply, there is only love that flows, right? So up till a certain point, it's going to come and go, come and go. You will experience states where you are, deeply devoted, and you are, experiencing that love, and immediately it will be gone. But when you reach this stage, it becomes very continuous. It becomes very, very, like you are able to elongate it, right? And you cannot force this, right? So like concentration and meditation, concentration you put effort, but meditation when it happens, that is the time the process becomes effortless, you know the same thing is happening over here. The process will become effortless, and you will be able to move more deeply into your journey of bhakti yoga. And the best part about bhakti yoga is that you get some divine grace on your path, right? So one of the major things in bhakti yoga is when you attain, um, the God that you are devoted to, when you give so much of your dedication, your time, some power is seeing that, basically, right? And when that God is pleased, it is generally said that you get some push on your journey from him. You get some grace, like like your teachers, when they wish you well, they give you some push ahead, right? Be it for your life or your exams, when your teachers give you best wishes, you have something, you feel something, and you feel more confident that now you will be able to move ahead in your journey. and whatever they say, it does push you ahead in your journey, right? So same way, God also, grants a lot of grace, divine grace on this path where, he pushes the bhakt ahead. And without his, involvement, the bhakt knows that it is going to be a very long way. So the bhakt also receives that grace from the God that they believe in, right? So more than these two types of bhakti, understanding these two types of bhaktis, we also need to understand the types of bhaktis, right? So bhakt is the person, right, who is devoting themselves to the God. Bhakta. Bhakt. Bhakt. You know, you will see not everybody enters bhakti yoga with the same thing in mind, right? So if you are planning to go into bhakti yoga, you will see that a lot of bhakts have come there out of suffering, right? So suppose I'm suffering in my life, my health is not okay. Right, this is a very common example. When people give up on everything, they go to the temple and they pray. They go to the church and they pray. When they think that nothing else can work, right, they go and they pray, right? So this is the first type of bhakt where the basic needs, the basic health is not there, and the person is struggling to attain that health, that basic need of human life. And that is when the person will be in a position to connect more with whatever life demands of them. If you're not healthy, you won't be able to do other things. You won't be able to go to work. You won't be able to go out and have some fun, right? So you won't even be able to eat properly, right? So first type of bhakt, which is your arth bhakt, ARTA. Arth bhakt, this person is going to go to God when there is no hope left, when there is a lot of suffering. So the main point of going, the main trigger for going to God is the suffering that they are going through, right? So this is the reason, and you will find a lot of people around you who daily visit God for this reason. So they are also into bhakti yoga, but this is a lower form of bhakti, right? Where you are uh, because your basic things are not being fulfilled, you need you know to believe in something higher than, right? So then you will meet another type of bhakt, artharthi. ARTHARTI, artharthi, right? This bhakt goes to God for wealth. So you would have seen a lot of people also, again, not believing to believe in God. They are going to believe in God, but they're going to go to God for their wealth. Now their health is established, their basic needs are being fulfilled. So when all of these basic needs are fulfilled, that is when we look forward to attaining more in life, more out of life, right? So then you come to the artharthi, who is going to God only because he or she wants to gain more material gains in life, more material things and more wealth. So they want to be well off in the material life, in this life that they are living. They want to be well off, right? So sometimes we also go where we pray for gaining more money. So we also come into this category. But this bhakt is better than the first one. Why? Because first one was even struggling for life, right? Basic things were not fulfilled. At least when you come to this form of bhakti, Now you are like, okay, at least I have basic things fulfilled. So you go into a deeper form of bhakti over here. So one bhakt, as I go ahead also, so they are going to go up only. The level is going to go up only, right? The second one, looking for best material life and believes in God, goes to God and prays to God that, you know, that thing is granted to him, right? Then we come to the third type, which is Jigyasu. J-I-J-N-A-S-U. Jigyasu. Then there is one person, right? Not one, many, but this can also represent the different stages that we face in life. So sometimes, our health doesn't, isn't on our side. So we sometimes go to God for our health, sometimes we go for our wealth. And sometimes we go to God because we feel that void, right? So no matter what you do in life, how much money you have, health you have, good people around you have, company all the time, right? Good sense of community, even then you feel some void. You feel this emptiness within you. And when you feel this emptiness within you, you are not able to understand it. You want answers. You just do not get why this is happening. Why am I feeling a sense of lack when I have everything that I am meant to have? Society said, get a good education, I got it. Get a good job, I got it. Good apartment, good car, amazing partner, good parents, good bond with siblings, everything. A amazing friend community. You never go like alone on your weekends. You always hang out with someone, right? So all of these things that everybody around me asked me to do, I have done. And I am in a balanced state when it comes. If somebody from outside will see your life, they will say like, they want to be like just like you, right? But you know what is going on within. You still feel that void. No matter what you achieve in life, you feel that void. And when you feel that void, you get curious. Why? This why comes up, and how can I work on it? So the jigyasu is going to go and look for answers. So that is when they will start their journey in bhakti yoga. This person is not going to start their journey because of other things. They're going to, main dominating factor is going to be their curiosity. They want to get answers. They want to understand what is my purpose. Why this life? Can I do something more? That kind of thing. Right. So they just do not know that who should I go to, and they end up going to the energy that they believe. Right? And then there is going to be a very high form of a bhakt, right? Who is going to be a Gyani. J-N-A-N-I. Gyani, right? So the Gyani is going to be the one who is, very far off in their journey, right? So, you know, this person knows that this person is also a part of the divine, right? This person knows that there is no, you know, point in getting attached, and not only just knows, has experienced it, so doesn't, go into these practices. Like right now, you don't have to get attached, right? Yesterday, I took a class on karma, but we still end up getting attached. So I'm not talking about people like us, right? The Gyani is going to be a person who is going to, be very, very peaceably will understand that this is not the thing, and hence won't do it. When you experience something, you touch fire, it's going to burn you, you will not touch it again. So that kind of thing, right? And this person is going to continuously just devote themselves to God and work towards their path, right? So eventually, as you move ahead, if you choose Bhakti Yoga, and right now you have started from the beginning level, then you know where you are headed towards. You are going to reach a particular stage, the Jnani stage, where you will get that understanding and then move ahead in your journey. So no matter which category you fall in, when you start Bhakti Yoga, you can work towards moving ahead in your journey and eventually reaching Parabhakti, the form of pure love, right? Unconditional love. And that is what it is all about, right? Making you experience that the finest stage of love is what Bhakti Yoga is. When you do that, you get you become free from all the suffering and feel that sense of union, right? So any doubts in any of this? Any doubts related to Bhakti Yoga, what the school is all about, or any other thing you want to get to know, curious about? All right. So there are no doubts,
I
right?
have,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have one question. Because, can you again explain, in few para bhakti? This is the state of what? Because there's para bhakti is the state of perfection, yeah? And apara bhakti?
See, Parabhakti is higher stage, very high stage. Aparabhakti is little bit lower stage, good for a beginner who can, do certain set of rituals, practices, right? Prayers, these kinds of things, where they can work on the impurities of the mind through these things and get into the, you know, inculcate that practice of, taking out that time for their devotion every day.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Then you reach the Parabhakti where you now it's a part of your life, right? So then let's end the session, right? So let's chant Om one time, followed by three Shantis. So sit straight, close the eyes, and connect with your breath. And let's inhale for Om. So inhale deeply for Om. Om. Shanti. Put the palms together in front of the chest and up with the palm. Keep them up the eyes. Very slowly while blinking and looking at the palms. Open up your eyes. Come back with a smile. And namaste to everyone. I will see you all for your pranayam class in the afternoon. Right? So bye bye.
Bye, thank you.
Namaste.